My name is Myrna Burkholder. I am the oldest of 4 children of J. Lawrence Burkholder. J. Lawrence Burkholder was president of Goshen College from 1971 to 1984. He was very interested in civil rights activities in the 60s. He was a professor at Harvard Divinity School. He was chair of the department of the church and worked with young seminarians who were interested in ministry. And maybe because of that involvement with students, he began to identify with their civil rights concerns. My parents were on a vacation in Florida in the spring of 1964. They were in Palm Springs, Florida, and my father heard that Martin Luther King might be in St. Augustine, Florida, for demonstrations that were taking place there. So he decided to go from Palm Springs to St. Augustine. And when he got there, he was invited to participate in a sit-in with several local black women and several prominent ministers' wives from Boston, one of whom was Mrs. Malcolm Peabody, the mother of the governor of Massachusetts. So he agreed to go on this sit-in, and as a result, they were all arrested, and he was jailed for several days in St. Augustine. But what was interesting about it was that Mrs. Peabody was such a celebrity that the press followed her everywhere she went when she was there, which included being carted off, as it were, to jail, with my father sitting beside her in the police car. And so as a result, their picture was flashed all over the country, major newspapers picking up on it. So here he is, pictured next to Mrs. Peabody. So that was his 5 minutes of fame, so to speak, because of happening to sit beside her and that police car with all the pictures that were taken of them at that time. Well, Martin Luther King was under pressure to take the group beyond the bridge. But they had not had permission to do so from the governor. And so he just knew that there would be violence waiting for it to happen if they went any further than across the bridge. So he knowingly led this group of several thousand people across the bridge. People had come from all over, knowing that they wouldn't go further than the end of it. But he kept that to himself, except maybe for a few people who were close to him or marching with him. And so when they came to the end of the bridge, he stopped. The troops were not holding them up as they had done in the previous march, but he didn't trust them. He just knew there would be trouble. So he stopped the march and said, "Pray, pray, pray." And Ralph Abernathy, who was with them helping to lead the march, led the group in prayer. They all kneeled down, just as they were instructed to do, at least those closest to him who were hearing him. And my father said the word prayer, prayer, prayer went back through the crowd. So I don't know how many of the thousands of people who were there actually knelt in prayer. But after the prayer led by Ralph Abernathy, Martin Luther King and the people who were with him turned around and started to walk back, and everyone else did as well. So no one was hurt, and for that, Martin Luther King was unapologetic about having stopped the march. So it's very interesting to track down information about a parent who's been involved in such significant events. And I must say that one more involvement my father had with Martin Luther King was that he was invited to speak at the memorial service for Martin Luther King at Harvard Memorial Church, a special service that they had on April 9 after Martin Luther King died on April 4, 1968. And he said it was the greatest honor of his life to be asked to give that speech. And again, I was able to find his speech typed out, I guess, as he presented it. So I'm very pleased to have that he was one of 4 speakers. And I have the program here. Somebody wrote in the corner, Larry. That's what he was called. So somebody probably, and it says, speak from pulpit. So I guess somebody handed it to him. And I found among his things a photo from that occasion where you can barely see him, but he's here in the pulpit speaking on that at that event. So even though this is kind of a strange photo, we're glad to have it. Our family is glad to have it.